All right. Thank you everyone for taking part in this webinar to know more about the higher degree research at the Oral Health Center or UQ School of Dentistry. Today my name is Dr. Jaya Seneviratne. I'm the Director of Higher Degree Research at UQ Dentistry. So I have a couple of panelists for you to know. We have Professor Lokdo. He's our Director of Research at the UQ Dentistry. Lock is waving his hand. We have Professor Ove Peters. He's our Clinical Director for Clinical Studies, so especially if you look at the clinical specialties. And of course, a very well renowned clinician scientist as well. So, Ove, you can wave. And also we have a very important person here, Dr. Arosha Virakon. She is actually a recent graduate from our SCR studies, and she will share her journey with you, which will be very important to make a decision. And also, despite his busy schedule, we are very lucky to have our head of the school, Professor Saso Ivanovski, here as well. And if you have any questions, you can also direct it to Professor Saso later. Now, Dr. Arosha, actually, she has quite a busy schedule. I believe she has running a factories as well. So she needs to leave early. Therefore, I will share my presentation. In halfway, we will invite Arosha to come and share her journey as well. So let me share my presentation with you. Okay, you go. Let me have a minute. Mission. Okay. Can you see the slides? Yeah, all right. Okay, maybe I'll minimize this. Yeah, so as I mentioned we are going to talk about the higher degree by research in dentistry. I mean, as you know, in graduate school, UQ, we have different schools, different departments, but here today, we are specifically focusing on dentistry. And you will see dentistry has a wide spectrum of research. There are many things you can perceive in your higher degree. So as I mentioned, again, we have three panelists, myself, Dr. Jaya, Professor Ove Peters, and Professor Lokdo, and we are lucky to have Professor Ivanovski as well. And later, Dr. Rosha will give her journey to HCR. Now, first, I would like to acknowledge the country, the University of Queensland. We acknowledge the traditional owners and their custodianship of the lands on which we meet. We pay our respect to their ancestors and their descendants who continue cultural and spiritual connection to country. We recognize their valuable contribution to Australian global society. As you know, we are very lucky to have our First Nation students joining our SCR journeys as well. So if you join UQ, you will be able to meet them, greet them, and learn from each other. So we really recognize their valuable contribution. In addition, I also want to acknowledge our commitment to diversity and inclusion. In brief, where you come from, what you do is irrespective, because we as a UQ SCR cohort, we respect and we treat each other as one. So I support I would like to express our firm and proactive commitment to supporting effort for greater diversity and inclusion within our school. Diverse perspectives, abilities, experience, and backgrounds inspire creativity, encourage innovation, and enrich our community. So members of our broad community are valued and respect for their individuality, UQ strive to create a culturally safe, welcoming, and inclusive workplace with strong community connections and partnership. Therefore, as I mentioned, irrespective of your background, we actually treat you everyone as one. So welcome to the UQ School of Dentistry as well. First, I would know, I know that you look for the opportunities, right? Especially the graduate school scholarships, as well as various other scholarships are available at UQ to pursue higher degree research. I will give you a very brief overview. During the discussion session, we can elaborate on each point because I would like to invite Arosha very soon to share her journey. Now, in brief, we have two stream of cohorts, international students who are offshore and who apply, with their academic background, other qualification, research experiences. They apply for the graduate school scholarships. These are called international scholarships. And this year, we are very fortunate to have the international scholarship round open in April 2024. So if you go to the graduate school website, you can find further details to find the appropriate area of research, suitable supervisors. So if you think that you really like to come and pursue your degree at UQ Dentistry, so please contact me or even a potential supervisor. We are always there to sort of help you and guide you. In addition, for the exceptional candidate, we have something called responsive mode. As the name denotes, it's exceptional candidates. The criteria is a little bit more stringent than the graduate school scholarships. But look, in the past, we have been successful in recruiting the exceptional candidate under this scheme to UQ School of Dentistry. So therefore, if you believe that you have a qualification and criteria, again, please contact us. Additionally, we also have some Asia students funded by foreign sponsors. One of the schemes is CSC from China, Chinese scholarships. And we also have the scholars, Asia students from Vietnam, India, from various places. So therefore, if you can secure your government scholarships or various other sponsorships, please do contact us to look at the eligibility criteria as well as the suitability of your interest and your sponsor as well, right? Recently, as you know, due to funding situations, we recently UQ introduced a self-funded scheme for specific candidates. So this is case by case. You may need to demonstrate your ability to finance yourself within the study period. For instance, at the moment, UQ Graduate School is only inviting for the MPhil candidates, not PhD candidate. But there is always a possibility if you perform well during your MPhil, there are opportunities for you to actually convert your studies to PhD as well. So do get in touch with us to get more information. Now, this seminar, specifically, we are focusing on the domestic students who are there, onshore international students, as well as our domestic students who are graduating from UQ and elsewhere from various Australian universities. And I'm happy to again announce you we are going to open the domestic student scholarship round very soon. In fact, 19 February. So please go into the graduate school website and get the information. So domestic student, we have various actually additional pathways to actually obtain your higher degree research. For instance, we have tuition-only scholarship. We also have a philanthropic scholarship. If you have some financial constraints, we can actually top up certain scholarships, again, case by case. But there are support. And in particular, I would like to share with you today, we have the certain type of scholarship from the graduate school for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander students who have performed well. Therefore, we highly encourage our First Nation students to approach us if you interested in pursuing a higher degree research in dentistry. I think I have given you enough information on scholarships. And one last slide before we invite Arosha. University as a whole, as well as the School of Dentistry, we are very keen to develop partnership with industry. It's a real world, PhDs that we had with the practical component. I will give you more details in the later part of my talk. But we have the UQ Career Development Scholarships. We have UQ PhD Industrial Placement Scholarships. So this is for actually current or prospective scholars. If they want to engage with the industry, the UQ will actually provide 3 months additional stipend to go and work in industry. Something like internship, but a little bit more advanced stage. We also have a UQ PhD Industrial Placement Award, especially for domestic students who may not be eligible for the graduate school scholarship, but still would like to go and work with industry. In that, we will give one-off payment to facilitate the that 3 months period. In addition, we have National Industry PhD program, which is not really confined or restricted to UQ, but for other universities. But if you are interested, we are happy to support. We have visiting scholars from UQ IITD. It's a program from India. In fact, I have some students who are visiting and working here for like 1 year for their PhD, like a joint PhD from Indian Institute. We have ITI and IADR intern scholars, as well as foreign government scholarships who support for short-term visits, for instance, like 6 months to 1 year visit. These students they are highly qualified students. They come and contact with our potential supervisors, and even they stay behind successfully securing graduate school scholarships. So there are various kind of pathways if you want to pursue your degree in oral health, dentistry at UQ. So now I think I gave you enough information. So without further ado, I would like to invite Dr. Arosha Virakon, who was a recent PhD graduate. In fact, Arosha joined UQ School of Dentistry as a senior lecturer very recently. So Arosha, I would like to pass, okay, I will invite you to take it from here and share your journey. Along the way, I will ask some questions to clarify to prospective students. Arosha,
that would be great, Jaya. Can everyone hear me? I've just unmuted myself. Yeah, great. All right. Thanks for the introduction. I actually thought it would have been really lovely if I'd known about all of these other scholarships that I wasn't aware of when I actually did my PhD. So my background is basically I'm a clinician, and I actually started my PhD with the School of Public Health and School of Dentistry, and after probably a few months decided that I'd like to switch completely back to dentistry, so I came back, and I ended up finishing my PhD last year. I studied dentine, which is, if you're not in a dental background, is the second layer of tooth structure and how it changes the collagen and mineral, and it changes as we age. And also came up with a technique, a non-destructive technique to help us understand adhesive effectiveness of different materials. And what you see in the background in my wall, I suppose, is actually what dentine looks like under a confocal microscope. So yeah, I'm kind of still living and breathing it to a certain extent. But I'm happy to answer any questions, Jaya, because I have no idea what you want me to talk about in a way, but I'm happy to. Yeah.
I have list of questions for you, Arisha.
Sure.
So I mean, because it's we actually just conduct this as a conversation, and this is being recorded, so we can share with other students as well. Now, I would like to ask you now. I mean, how did you select your PhD supervisor and the project?
The PhD supervisors, I'd always been interested in research, so I had as an undergraduate, when I was at the dental school, I did a lot of summer projects. So I'd actually worked with some of the people and it ended up being my final PhD supervisors. So that's effectively how that came to be. But previously, when I started the School of Public Health as well, some of my supervisors were people that Pauline Ford, who remained my supervisor through both, had known and worked with. So that's how that started. And it really does help if all of your supervisors can work together and collaborate, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, when you look back, I mean, do you think? I mean, of course, we know the answer, but do you think that you made the right choice? Entering HCR journey at UQ? Yeah.
I think there were probably times I did question my choice, but yeah, in the end, definitely. It was a really incredible experience, and I think it's what you make of it, really. I tried very hard to, in some ways, try and get out of dentistry. And I know that sounds really interesting as well, but I engaged with other scientists that were specialists in microscopy and different that had different skill sets as well, and presented in different conferences that were outside of dentistry, which really helped. But it also meant that I made these wonderful connections with people that I ordinarily wouldn't have come across. And I think that's what made, for me, my PhD quite special. But also I had the advantage of working with a few of my supervisors were clinician scientists as well. So they understood the challenges and that I had working as a clinician and also trying to balance a PhD. But it also meant that I feel my PhD was very clinically relevant, and I could actually apply some of the things, or a lot of the things I learned in my research in practice, which was really good.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned that when you look back, you actually made the right decision. You make new connections and new experiences. You enrich yourself as a clinician as well as scientist. So now you go as a clinician scientist. So therefore, one of the challenges we have is of course, when you graduate with the dental degree. You go to maybe private practice, you engage in the government. So you actually go to the clinical direction. So how do you, what do you think that you can actually share with your colleagues to encourage them to pursue a higher degree by research?
Oh my goodness, I'm always trying. I think Locke has ended up with a few people possibly that have contacted me and I've go, oh, I think you should maybe speak to someone else, like someone like Locke, about pursuing a PhD. I just part of the wonderful thing about being a clinician and also doing research is it really helps you understand I suppose the scientific knowledge that's out there, because often we don't understand how that we can apply to it. We can I can critically appraise the information so much better now than I did when I first started. But I think one of the biggest things is being able to perhaps come up with some solutions that are evidence-based for practice. So the idea that we can improve clinical practice and or even population health, because I did a master's in public health when I wanted to do my PhD in public health. So I have a public health background as well. Even population health. I mean, what a wonderful thing to be able to help communities and help people in a way that that can make change and lasting change as well.
Yeah, absolutely, Arush. I mean, as you mentioned, as academic institutions, our job is just not to only share the knowledge, but to create new knowledge. So that's what you meant. I mean, you mentioned Locke, our Director of Research, Professor Locke. I mean, Locke, maybe you can share some thoughts as well here.
Thanks, Jaya. Thanks, Arosha. That's you, Arosha. You like wonderful example of how that clinicians can be involved in research and actually that create knowledge by doing research themselves. And look at after your PhD journeys, you now kind of expert in your field, and you share your knowledge with the communities and with other professionals. I think that's a great example for how that's like HDR journey should be.
Yeah, thank you a lot. Thank you. I mean, Avasha, you mentioned about the people and the facilities. Do you think that, I mean, if someone comes to do a pursue, they have wonderful, I mean, they have sufficient facilities and the people expertise at UQ Dentistry and at the UQ as a whole?
When I first started, which was quite a while ago, UQ was just starting, so dentistry was just starting. So I had to sort of branch out a little bit. But what I have to say is I was blown away by how generous people are if you ask for help. And that was really wonderful. When sometimes I would just email someone who I didn't even know, and I'm friends with them now. And just to ask a question, and they would just go, "Oh, sure, come over and I'll show you how this works." So I think the scientific community, it not just, you can work in collaboration with other institutions as well, which is amazing. And just to give you an example, by the time I finished my PhD, I had collaborations with the Translational Research Institute Australia, Queensland University of Technology, the School of Medicine in New South Wales, and what has now also become University of Western Australia, because one of the people from QT has moved. So you end up with, through meeting and for me anyway, meeting and speaking at different conferences and collaborating with different people, a really interesting mix. And I think that is part of, if you're looking at a pathway, and if you're looking at a sort of a science pathway, that's the way that you can look at career advancement in one way. Certainly, because academia is not necessarily where everyone wants to go. So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we mentioned about the connections, and we have Professor Ove Peters here, and he's actually heading the clinical program. I mean, we try to embed that research program with the clinical students. When they graduate, I mean, how do you value these research component, even for the clinicians? Oh yeah. You're muted.
Yeah, I'm unmuted now. Thanks, Jaya, for including me in this discussion, and of course also to Pete for setting this up. I think it's a very important point that you're making. Not everybody is as altruistic as Arosha was here, with a pure interest for science. I think a lot of people kind of think of it as a compact. Some applicant, rightfully so, have to consider what is their career path going to be. So is a PhD something that sets you up onto an academic career more than an MPhil? Then the scope of research that a specialist will undergo here at the school is again a bit different, even though the scope may be quite similar to an MPhil. I think of it perhaps this way: the utility of a degree as an applicant, for instance, tells me as a program director that an applicant has the absolute desire to make everything work and the capacity, the brain power, so to speak, to excel and be setting themselves up for a career of lifelong learning. I think what stands out to me when I'm listening to what Arosha said and also looking at the panelists is the scope of different backgrounds and the scope of different ideas, interests, capacities. that's fantastic. A community of learners, and being part of that is inspiring.
Thank you, thank you. I mean, you mentioned the community of learners. I mean, it's a lifelong learning. We always learn from each other. So that's the passion and, curiosity, so, I mean, hopefully that's why we are here, to encourage others as well. I don't know whether Professor Saso Ivanovski is able to speak, or I know he's here. We have the head of school here, but I don't know whether he's able to sort of share. But never mind, Arush, I know you have to leave soon. So what are your actually, again, the final thoughts, and what are your sharing with key points, that take-home messages for our participants, that they must come and join our small community of learners, as Professor Peters mentioned, at UQ School of Dentistry?
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, Jaya. I think it does really help to find a topic or an area in some ways that you're really interested or engaged with. There are a few things I would suggest is, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, sorry. Finding a topic that you're interested in, and also meeting and getting to know your supervisors a little bit, because those two things are incredibly significant for the longevity of yourself and your project. Because if it's really important, and I was very fortunate to find a group of people that I could work with, that understood me. And I actually had 4 supervisors, and each one of them brought something quite unique to the mix that was really important to the final outcome of my project. And I think those are probably the 2 things. So I know that most people will be looking to see what sort of career pathway that it can lead to. But just to give you an idea of something really random that happened, we used to have someone who now is back in UWA, who did her PhD in dating ancient Japanese ceramics, and her background was chemistry, and she ended up working in dentistry, and she also taught into dentistry. So you just never know where things are going to take you, and it is good to have an endpoint in view, because we all need to see the light eventually. But also I think the biggest part really is just enjoy the journey, and then you'll find your way where you should be. That's what I'd say.
Yeah, thank you, Arisha. Very, very good point. Insight. I mean, before you leave, actually, we have our head of the school, Professor Saso Ivanovski. Professor Saso, you want to speak a few words about our bright candidate, who recently graduated and now joined our colleagues with Arosha, and how we encourage our domestic students to join the school?
Yes, thanks, Jaya. Let me see. I don't think I've got access to my video here, but I think you can hear me. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Great. I mean, look, we aim to create a very supportive environment here at the school, and I think most importantly, we aim to offer opportunities in various areas of dentistry and beyond. So the types of research is very varied and diverse. So there's opportunities not only for clinicians and dentists, but also people with different backgrounds to join the school and undertake this academic journey with a focus on dentistry. But as you well know, dentistry is got also very varied scope, and you can contribute in many different areas in building the evidence base that drives dentistry. So I think that creates a very vibrant environment where people can interact. I think it's already been mentioned. You have this community where you meet a lot of people from different backgrounds, and you learn directly in your chosen area of the PhD, but also learn from the other PhD students in many different varied areas. And this is also evident in our graduates. So our graduates, there is clinicians that go to private practice and they also join academia. So Arosha is a great example. I mean, she's doing some practice and is also teaching at the school. There is others who are joining industry in various areas of molecular biology or biofabrication or medical device development, and also other people that are going into the public health fields, both in policy, within the public sector and within the private sector. So there's many opportunities and many pathways that one can take through doing a PhD at the school.
Yeah. Thank you, Professor. I mean, it's I know Arosha has to leave, so we thank her for her contribution. I mean, joining this webinar and sharing her journey despite her busy schedule. So thank you, Arosha, for joining and sharing your story with us. I hope you know you will continue to support our future candidates and you know and supervise some of them as well.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hopefully, yeah, that would be good. Yeah, thank you. Thanks, Jaya. Thanks for the opportunity. Thanks, Ove. Bye, Locke. Thanks, Sasha.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Arosha.
Bye.
Yes. Yeah, and thank you, Professor Saso. You mentioned really about the diversity we have, the inclusion, the cultural safety. I mean, if you join UQ or School of Dentistry, you will realize dentistry is quite a broad field. We do different things, different backgrounds, but we learn as one. Now, I will give you some of the examples, especially in the research space that available at UQ Dentistry. I'll continue my presentation. So let me share the presentation again. Okay, can you see the presentation? Yeah, so good. Maybe put it to the side. Yeah, now, again, thank you for joining this seminar. If you want to know more information about the, I mean, I gave you some of the information on the scholarships, but there are plenty of information available at the UQ Graduate School website. You know, if I have given you the website address, you can actually go there and look for more information. If you need clarification, again, please don't hesitate to contact us. Here I have given some key contacts that you should look for when you inquire about your SCR journey. As you know, as you heard from Professor Ivanovski, he is the head of the school. I mean, he might not be the first contact point for you to send the inquiry. In fact, you can send your first inquiry to me as a director of SCR. As well as we have the SCR license officers, HLOs, who actually bridge the connection between the UQ School of Dentistry and the graduate school. Here we are very fortunate to have a very supportive HLO, Kelsey Park. So the first contact point for you, the future students, either myself or Kelsey. And then in the school, we have the safety officer, Tanya. We have our laboratory coordinator who is very helpful in running the laboratory, our PC2 laboratory, Nigel. We have our school manager, Sarah Robinson, who is very helpful in sort of arranging a lot of facilities for us and our workshop, as well as help in the management administration side. As well as we have the student support for UQ. This is the website. Maybe so that would be better. Yeah, so as I mentioned, a key person among us is Kelsey Park. So if you want to join the program, if you want to inquire about the different scholarship opportunities, or want to find the potential supervisor, you may email sgyoung.dentistry@inquire.uq.edu .au, that email address. Of course, I have given you my email address. You can also email me. Now, as you know, it's very important to find a right project as well as a right supervisor. So therefore, during this SGR journey, in fact, we inquire from you as well as your supervisory team whether you are on the right track to graduate, and are you successfully performing your studies and learning journey. For instance, there are a couple of questions I would invite you to think before deciding your SGR journey. For instance, you can ask, can I devote adequate time to my degree? Have I found the project that excites me? Very important. Are all necessary resources available? Can I work well with my advisory team? Advisory team is very important because if you do a PhD, especially, you're going to stay 3.5 years with your advisory team. Therefore, it's important to have a good understanding. Is this right place for this project? I mean, because we have panelists, I don't want to just present. I want to make it like a conversation. Professor Lockdoor is quite experienced advisor. What are your thoughts on this, like finding a right place and whether it's the right time or for candidate, Lock?
Thanks. That's like a very important question to ask before you start. But I believe that you need to know what is your main interests are first, and then you have like discussion with your potential advisor. And like as Rosha said, we have a community here to provide advice, and we will give you we will aim to answer your questions as much as possible, and to help you to find that's right project, and right linking up with the right people, and familiarize you with our like research culture, and how to like achieve the best during the time with you.
Yeah, I mean, because Professor Saso is here, head of the school, how about the available resources now? What are your thoughts on, I mean, our labs, of course, as well as our collaborations? Professor, what is your thought on this?
Well, I think the resources we have at the school are first class. It really depends on the area that you're looking to study in, and we have several areas of strength, such as the public health dentistry that Professor Lockdoor leads, and the biofabrication, regenerative dentistry and medicine tissue engineering area that I lead, as well as the clinical research, which Professor Ove Peters has a lot to do with. And these are all areas where we have strength, and in all those areas we have excellent resources, both in terms of the people that can provide the advising, so the supervisors, but also the physical resources. It's just the PC2 laboratory, biofabrication space, clinical research space, and facilities and capacity, and also the public health expertise that sits within the school. As you say, Jaya, also there's of course our collaborators across all aspects of the university. University of Queensland is a very broad university. It's probably the most comprehensive university in Australia across various disciplines. So we always collaborate with our colleagues and other schools and faculties. So be it engineering, being medicine, public health, and science. So there is extensive expertise, and of course there is our collaborative network outside the university, so both nationally within Australia and also internationally in many countries around the world.
Yeah, thank you, Professor. I mean, of course, we pride ourselves. Actually, our facilities are sort of a second to none. As well as, I mean, it doesn't necessarily be all the facilities should be there in the school. We have a very strong collaboration, as Professor mentioned, with various institutions. Therefore, if you look for a project and what excites you, please talk to your supervisor, potential supervisor, because Prof. Ove Peters here, who has done quite a bit of work in the clinical discipline and with a lot of clinical students. What is your message to clinical students? Is it like, I mean, is it possible to balance the clinical work as well as the research work?
That's a good question. The answer is it's possible, but it's not trivial. It's not trivial. So, but what I think what has to happen is both the supervisor has the duty to do due diligence, as does the applicant. The applicant can look at what's the track record, what's the checklist that you're showing here is very good. But what I would suggest at this stage, just to make sure that this is most meaningful, that we also look at the applicant attendees that are on the panel and encourage them to either come online and speak if they are permitted to do so, or put their questions, if they have any, into the chat box to make this a bit more of a two-way street, if that's okay with you.
Yes, very good. Pete, is it possible for candidate to ask questions? Because this is quite new format for us. This is our first public sort of a forum to advertise our research and information. And we really thank our UQ, the marketing and advertising team, Pete, for arranging this first event. Therefore, I am not sure about the format. Pete, how does it work?
Hi, Jaya. And yeah, if any of our attendees have any questions, then feel free to ask them in the Q&A section, and I'll keep an eye on things. And if anybody has any questions, I'll pass them on to you, Jaya. all
right, yeah. I mean, I thought rather than just going through my presentation, it's good to be some interactive, maybe Ove or Saso may have to leave. So therefore, I would like to take their insight in this section. So let me continue the presentation. I mean, if the answer is only if the question is no, of course you contact director of HCR to discuss. But we have a lot of a lot of time is years, because we can find potential supervisors for you. Yeah, I mean, it's called the graduate school scholarships as well as other scholarships. I mean, if you come to the UQ community, you are regarded as one, and you have all the rights, including the scholarship leaves, your working days leave, and you can get your vacation and go back home and enjoy with your family, which is very important. So they are in place. These are some of the information. You get 20 working days and 10 working days for paid and sick leaves. There are various opportunities for if needed. For instance, I'll go to the next slide. The interruptions. We understand 3.5 years is quite a long period of time, especially full-time candidates. Things may happen. So, but don't worry. I mean, we of course we are student-centric, and we have a lot of cultural safety, empathy, and compassionate. Therefore, there are various ways. For instance, for illnesses, caring responsibilities, parental leave, and even some of the work commitments. So there are various ways to, if you approach in advance, to facilitate your learning journey and create win-win situation for both yourself, your advisors, as well as the universities. Therefore, it's a wonderful community of group of people. HCR journey, we understand it's very challenging, and we are very supportive. Yeah, I mentioned about the UQ career development framework, especially if you are, I mean, Professor Ivanovski, very correctly mentioned, not all the graduates who, especially from research, join academia. Some may join the industry. because they have a certain interest in that. We have recognized this is an important pathway, and we have created various opportunities to facilitate that. For instance, even at the School of Dentistry last year, 2023, we had Pathfinder workshops. Pathfinder workshop that we initiated for the first time to sort of guide you and show you different pathways, not necessarily just be a researcher in your lifetime. This experience, the PhD, you know, that your doctor of philosophy will help you to enter into the industry and be successful in that area. So if you want, you can again ask for more information. We are happy to share. Now let's go to the exciting part. I know you are here to know more about the research which we do. As again, Professor Saso mentioned, he is the director of Core 3, one of the leading research team in our school, the regenerative dentistry medicine. Under this Core 3, we have several groups. I-team, which actually Professor Saso leads his team for many years with wonderful publication and achievements. We have a group on epigenetics, on nano diagnostic, led by Dr. Pimping Han. We have Gators, led by Dr. Karan Gulati, the biomanufacturing and regenerative dentistry again by Dr. Cedric, and we also have a nano, material group. I wonder, Professor Ivanovski is happy to take you through the I-team or add something if I miss. This is, I would like to, emphasize this is one of the leading, research group in the world, not only in Australia. Professor Ivanovski itself is very well recognized, one of the world leaders in regenerative dentistry. And his team, I-team, focus on several areas: additive manufacturing, 3D modeling and simulation, biomaterial. In fact, they have been successful in extending their research work, the bench work, to the bedside. Currently running some human trials, and also working with industry and developing industrial expertise. So I'll show you some of the pictures that you can understand. So in Core 3, biofabrication suit, they actually generate some kind of regenerative products that help the clinicians. For instance, this one, the osseous shell, the group generate actually currently on clinical trials. Is that correct, Professor Ivanovski?
Yes, that's right, Jaya. And it looks like I have now video access.
Yeah,
so
you have video access.
Thank you. Thank you. So, the history of the group is that obviously we were quite interested in a number of different areas, and many people in the center who lead their own groups started off as PhD students in some cases, or postdoc students, and were part of my group, and then became independent researchers, which is a research journey that a lot of researchers undertake, and we're here to support that. So my team now is relatively small because of my other commitments, as head of school, but the focus is very much on translation. So what you see here that Dr. Jaya was just explaining is some materials that have been through large animal trials, and in some cases now are in human trials. So they're also what we call first in human trials. So this type of medical devices have not been used anywhere else. We are the first to use these, and then we develop the biofabrication facilities that also comply.
Maybe I will take you.
Yes,
slide,
yeah, that's correct. So these are 3D printers and electrospinning equipment that complies also with regulatory requirements for human use. So this takes a lot of development. We have some excellent engineers and also clinicians we work with. So these are devices that we've taken all the way from developing from the benchtop on to human use. And this is actually the first case. Now we have almost 15 cases, 13 cases completed. And this is the first case of a 3D printed bone regeneration device for regeneration of lost jawbone. And this is where a tooth has been lost, and the pathology associated with the tooth has caused a lot of destruction in bone, and we want to subsequently place a dental implant into this area so that you can get a new tooth, but there is not enough bone, so we have to grow the bone first. And this device that you can see here is a polymer device that's resorbable, and we implant that. So you can see at the bottom right there the sterilized and packaged device in our facility. And if you go forward with the slide, Jaya, I think you should be able to see also, well, probably it's not included here, maybe because we didn't want to show too much gory details. This device was subsequently implanted into a patient, and now the bone has grown and we've been able to put a dental implant. So this was done approximately 10 months ago, and it has been very successful, and we've continued with the trial. So this is super exciting for us to be able to take something from the bench side all the way to the clinic.
Yeah, thank you, Professor Ivanovski. Now, I mean, I thank you for joining this forum and sharing your experience and your research group. Now, you know, the participants as well as whoever see this in future can sense the passion in Professor Ivanovski. Even he's head of the school doing a lot of administrative work, but as a scientist, he's passionate about his work. That's the beauty of you know, science as well as our school. You know, our schools are, we are very small school, but no means that you know, we are doing only small things. We do big things to the world. So this is one of the first you know, in the world. And yeah, so if you are interested in regenerative dentistry, please send us an email. We have wonderful group of supervisors, including Professor Ivanovski, as well as other group members. So I'll take, I mean, because it's a small you know, amount of time we have, I'm sure Professor Ivanovski will talk to you like 1 hour about the research, but I'm sorry. We'll go to the next topic, equally very well recognized, one of the best in the world, especially in endodontics research. You have Professor Ove Peters. So because he's here, I take liberty of inviting you to take you through your research group.
Sure. Thanks, Jaya. I don't want to steal too much time anyway. So I'm, of course, at the bit of an opposite spectrum from what Saso does, but still we meeting when we talk about regenerative opportunities, there also exist both in the pulp and the periapical tissues. And so what we're trying to do is to improve oral health through a variety of endodontic therapies that, as I say here, maintain and rebuild healthy tissue compartments. I think the ultimate holy grail is to get dentistry out of the silo that exists in the small kind of scope of therapies that we can provide and connect what we're doing to overall well-being and overall health. And any small contribution that we can give to that, I would like to give.
Yes. So as you can see, I mean, endodontic is quite an important area of research as well as clinically. I mean, we have expertise to run these tests, and of course, some techniques using you know, nanotechniques, 3D printing, as well as a new software to sort of detect the diagnostics as a prognostic value, I guess. So if you want to hear more, if you want to learn more, we have a wonderful team in endodontics. So please contact Professor Peters or you know, myself or the other Kelsey for more information. Yeah, so I mean, the beauty of this, sometimes you know, we have a wide range of expertise. As you can see, even 3 slides, very different, but very exciting work. And a little bit about the nano engineering dental implants. Yeah, we have Dr. Karan Gulati. He's a deputy director of Core 3 with. He's an engineer. He's not a dentist, I guess. Yeah. So as Professor Ivanovski mentioned, we don't only have the dentists. We have scientists. We have engineers from various backgrounds public health experts, so on and so forth. So his Dr. Karan's work is very well recognized, and he published in high impact journals. So if you want to do a PhD on nanoengineering dental implants or some kind of nanoengineering, so please contact Dr. Karan or myself. Then I am also a supervisor, advisor, especially my area of research is oral microbiome, oral biofilms, as well as oral systemic link. So we have our group working on oral microbiome in various diseases like dental caries, especially periodontitis, which is my special interest and my discipline as well. We work on oral biofilms formed on various surfaces and trying to find out the therapeutic options using peptides, using nanotherapy, so on and so forth. In addition, I'm very interested in oral systemic link. As you know, oral health affects systemic health and vice versa. In fact, in the past, I have run a clinical cohort looking at how the oral health affect the pregnancy, diabetes, the rheumatic diseases, so on and so forth. So therefore, if you are interested in oral microbiomics, please do send me an email. Very happy to have a chat. Then again, I'm quite lucky, we have the expert in the panel, so I don't need to describe. Professor Locke Do is again, we are very proud to have Locke. He's one of the best in the world, winning multiple international awards, including the IADR Distinguished Scientist Award, which is one of the highly recognized award. So he leads our population health team. So Locke, please, go ahead.
Thanks, Jaya. That's our population oral health at UQ, or we call it POHAC, is quite successful research group, and we collaborate with the governments, organization, industry, and we conduct research in population oral health to inform policy and practice. And we fortunate to have to be supported by a number of large NSMSC MRVEP grants and the UQVC strategic funding. And we have quite a good number of HDR candidates. I am principal supervisor of 5 PhD and 1 MPhil, and some other members, team member also supervise other candidates as well. And we have a number of research projects, a large population-based projects. An example here, that's one we have a birth course study running already 10 years. And we have a large Queensland China oral health study. That's a kind of a repeat of the previous Queensland China oral health study. The study of each time we see about 5,000 to 6,000 children across the state. And then we have recent oral health in aged care project. It's a combination of both qualitative, quantitative projects, co-designed and clinical tried. So that is some details about my birth course studies running in 10 years, very large amount of data. And that's several PhD are working on that, but still plenty of room to work on across nutrition, clinical oral health, and other determinants. And that's Queensland China oral health study. Again, we conducted the first one like over 10 years ago, and now we are doing the project is progressing very well in collaboration with Queensland Health, Queensland Educations, and we this time we are already seeing over 5,000 children. I mean, but still a few more months to go. And this oral health in aged care project, we started this last year, and we are progressing well, and we are seeing. I plan to see over thousands of residents of in aged care facilities as conducting cluster randomized controlled trial, and we collaborate widely with psychologists, implementation scientists and strong group in research, and that's we have many interesting potential projects for PhD and field. Thanks, Jaya.
Yeah, thank you, Professor Lokdo. I mean, as you see from the slides, the scope is large. Public health is there are various things you can do in this small, like there are little questions that you can ask from these large data sets. In fact, so there are plenty of rooms, as Lok mentioned, for the new Asia candidate to join his group. If you do interest in public health, community dentistry, so please contact him and contact us as well. I mean, the public health team is quite large in UQ Dentistry. We have Professor Katrina Lalo, as well as we have Dr. Nicole Stroman, our senior lecturer. As well as she's quite interested in the model of care, health services and longitudinal data, the policy evaluation, and so on and so forth. Therefore, please visit our website, UQ School of Dentistry. I believe we have plenty of information. It's very difficult to cover within this short period of time. And then we have, I mean, I apologize, I couldn't cover all the researchers because it's not possible within this time. But if you have any questions, please do contact us. And I thank, I mean, we still have a Q&A session. Please do stay. But I thank my all panelists for joining in this conversation, make it interactive and engaging, as people say. So yeah, if you have any questions, please send us an email. I believe, Pete, now is the Q&A session. Shall we go to the Q&A session?
Sure, Jaya. Yeah, it's just if any of the participants have any questions that they would like answered, yeah, feel free to drop them into the Q&A box. Otherwise, yeah, if you've got specific questions or inquiries about any of the programs, you can email the hdr.dentistry email address. But yep, if you've got any questions, feel free to ask them now and Jaya can answer them for you.
Yeah, thank you, Pete. Yeah.
Jaya, I'd like to add one a little bit about that scholarship. You mentioned about many different scholarship, but
yes,
for domestic candidates, this is still NHMRC. If that's for domestic clinicians, there is the NHMRC postgraduate scholarship is very prestigious, and it's a stipend level is high, and success rate is much higher than other grants schemes. So it's and this allowed allows clinicians to do PhD part-time. So that's something important to know.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I missed that information. That's a very important piece of information. As you know, NHMRC grants are one of the highly regarded, most prestigious grants, very competitive. But this one is for the PhD. If you are interested in doing a PhD, we can actually so there are NHMRC scholarships, which are, as Lok mentioned, stipend is quite higher. So it's encouraged clinician to do this. If I'm correct, I believe you can even do part-time, right? Isn't it, Lok? Yeah.
Yes, we can do part-time.
Yeah, so Professor Ovi Peters also mentioned about how to balance your clinical work and HCR journey. So this is a perfect opportunity for clinicians. So if you are really interested in HCR, please talk to your potential supervisors as well as us. We are very keen to sort of facilitate this scholarship. Yeah. Yeah, so if you don't have any questions, I think we're gonna wind up this session. However, I believe it's a really resourceful session. We had a really good discussion. I thank Pete from UQ, marketing team for arranging this. I believe this is important video we can actually circulate and share with the potential candidates. I thank my panelists, Professor Ivanovski, Professor Lokdo, Professor Ovi Peters, as well as Dr. Arosha Virakon, who join and share. So thank you, everyone, and have a good evening. Yeah. Yeah, thank you, Pete. Yeah, I really appreciate your help. Okay, bye-bye.